Hi guys, and welcome to our channel. My name's Imad and I'm a tutor at Study Buddies. We are an established education centre based in East London, providing quality after-school tuition to children ages 6 to 18, from primary school through to A-levels. We specialise in maths, English, sciences and 11 plus tutoring, providing small group and one-to-one classes from just £6.50 an hour. If you'd like to know more about us, then please visit our website at www.studybuddies.co.uk. You'll find our details on the screen. So today we're going to be looking at alliterative techniques and the use of sound in the text. Now you might have heard of alliteration before. Alliteration is when the same letter or the same sound occurs at the start of a couple of words in close succession. If we look at this example from Percy Shelley's Ozymandias, he says, "Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." Now we've got three cases of alliteration here. First of all, boundless and bare. The repeated B sound at the start of two of those three words creates alliteration. Similarly, lone and level and sands stretch. These are all cases of alliteration because the sound is being repeated at the start of the word. Alliteration doesn't have any one specific use, and a lot of the time it can be used in a variety of different ways depending on its context. For example, the repetition of a certain sound can draw our attention to a specific sentence, which might be really important in the overall content of the poem. In this way, the writer can make sure that we don't miss a certain part of the poem or of the text, simply by employing a repeated sound, so that we pay attention to that specific sentence so we don't skip over it. The use of sound can also create certain associations to ideas and themes which are related to the content. We associate certain sounds with certain ideas, and when that sound is alliterated or repeated, that idea is then brought into our consideration of the poem. For example, if we've got a poem about a snake, the repetition of S would create a hissing sound, and we associate the sound of the snake with the idea of the snake in the text. Finally, alliteration can be used to make the rhythm stronger. So where we've got a repetitive and strong rhythm, the repetition of sound in addition to that can really help make a strong and immersive effect in the poem. So now we're going to move on to three different types of sounds which can be repeated to create certain effects. These aren't exactly alliteration because the sounds can be anywhere in the word rather than just at the start. So first of all, we've got sibilants. Now sibilance is the repetition of soft consonant sounds, which are pronounced by letting the air pass easily through the mouth. This is usually an S sound, but can also be extended to ch sound and sh sound. So let's take a look at this example of sibilance from Wilfred Owen's Exposure. He says, "Sudden successive flights of bullets streak the silence." Now here the sibilance comes through quite strongly. This repeated S sound creates a variety of different effects. Now first of all, we've got the exaggeration of the topic of the poem through the use of sound. So Wilfred Owen's talking about bullets streaking past the reader, and at the same time this repeated S sound imitates bullets flying past. Now this is a really useful technique of immersion because the reader has to less imagine bullets flying past, as they can literally hear the bullets flying past them as they read it. Secondly, we've got the idea of tone becoming less harsh and more relaxing, all building suspense. Now, the easy passage of air when we're pronouncing sibilants can sometimes create a relaxing tone, but it can also be useful in raising the suspense of the poem. This depends on the context again. In this poem, we've got, I think, more tension being built slowly. As the poem progresses, Wilfred Owen uses different sounds to create a sense of fear. So next up we've got fricatives. Now fricatives are harsh consonant sounds, which are pronounced by restricting or blocking the airflow when we're speaking the certain fricative syllable. For example, F and V sounds are quite good examples of fricatives. Personally, I think it's best just to keep it down to the F because it's easy to remember and it's easy to spot in a poem. Let's take a look at this example of a fricative being used by William Shakespeare in Macbeth. He says, "Fair is foul and foul is fair, hover through the fog and filthy air." For one thing, fricatives can be quite useful in building tension in the text. When we're pronouncing the fricative syllable, we're holding back some air, That creates some tension in the pronunciation, but it also comes through in the text. If we look at this example from Macbeth, this scene is about witches gathering in the rain. And this is especially ominous a scene, so it's quite useful for Shakespeare to throw in some fricatives there, to build that sense of tension, to add to that sort of ominous tone. Fricatives aren't restricted to one theme, but often, because they raise tension, they're linked to themes of anger, rebellion, or even envy. Now last up we've got plosives. Now plosives are the sharpest of the three sounds, and they're pronounced by holding back air in pronunciation and then sharply releasing it. This is especially true for P sounds, T sounds, and K sounds. As you can see, we're holding back the air and then quickly releasing it when we're pronouncing. And this creates a sharp sense of releasing tension and also can be useful for building tension in certain texts. Now let's take a look at this example from Carson's Belfast Confetti. All the alleyways and side streets blocked with stops and colons. Now you might notice these harsh syllables at the end create a certain sense of dramatism. Carson's talking about militarism and violence, so these harsh sounds tie in really well with the theme. Now plosives can mark the moments of highest tension in the poem, but they usually have similar connotations to fricatives in being related to instances of tension and sometimes violence. They're an especially useful tool to create drama and to again draw the reader's attention. So I hope you found this video useful. I hope that when you're reading a text, you will begin to appreciate how the sounds can often amplify the content of the text, especially in poetry. Next week we'll be looking at similes, metaphors, and symbolism. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to see more videos like this. Until then, stay tuned and I'll see you soon.